Have you ever seen a race where one of Formula One's greatest drivers gives everything, only for fate, stewards, and a 10-second penalty to turn it all upside down? That's exactly what happened to Lewis Hamilton in Mexico City, in a weekend that perfectly summed up his roller coaster first season in Ferrari red. But the big question is, why did Hamilton get punished when Verstappen didn't? The Mexico City Grand Prix was shaping up to be one of Hamilton's strongest performances of the year. After a brilliant qualifying session that saw him line up third, his best grid spot since joining Ferrari, Hamilton looked genuinely comfortable and quick. The Ferrari was finally starting to feel like his own machine, and a first podium in scarlet seemed within reach. But Formula One has a way of turning promise into heartbreak within seconds. And on lap 6 of 71, everything began to unravel. The early laps were a tense chess match. Off the line, Hamilton made a perfect start, using the slipstream from Lando Norris to stay ahead of the chaos behind. But as the cars roared toward turn 1, Verstappen lunged from the outside, trying a daring move that instantly reignited memories of their fierce past battles. Hamilton defended hard but cleanly, keeping his nose ahead into the braking zone. Yet just a few corners later, the two would clash again, not through contact but through controversy. At turn 4, Hamilton took the outside line and ran slightly wide, cutting across the grass before rejoining the circuit. It didn't seem like much in the heat of the moment, but what followed would change his entire race. By going off track and rejoining ahead of Verstappen, the stewards deemed that Hamilton had gained a lasting advantage. The punishment? A painful 10-second time penalty that would destroy any chance of a podium finish. What made it worse was how late Ferrari told him. 5 laps after the incident, Hamilton finally heard the news over the radio. "We don't agree, but let's keep our head down," said race engineer Riccardo Adami. Hamilton, clearly frustrated, fired back. "What about all the other guys that cheated?" He was referring to the chaotic first lap moment when Verstappen, Leclerc, and others also went off track at turn 1, yet escaped penalty. From Hamilton's cockpit, it felt like double standards. Verstappen had gone off the grass earlier, even gained positions, but was spared. Meanwhile, Hamilton, who'd fought hard to stay in the race, was hit with one of the harshest time penalties possible. The stewards, however, saw it differently. Their ruling was simple. Verstappen's off-track moment didn't provide a lasting advantage, while Hamilton's clearly did. Telemetry showed that Verstappen didn't reach full throttle as quickly as on other laps after cutting the corner, meaning he didn't gain ground in the long run. But Hamilton, by skipping the escape road and rejoining directly onto the grass, had effectively jumped ahead of both Verstappen and Haas Ali Behrman. The regulations are clear. If you gain or maintain a position by leaving the track, you must immediately give it back. Hamilton didn't, and the 10-second penalty was automatic. By the time Ferrari served the penalty during his pit stop on lap 23, Hamilton had dropped from 3rd all the way down to 14th. His hopes for a podium or even a strong top 5 were gone. Over the radio, Hamilton could only say what every fan watching already felt. "That's ridiculous, mate." He eventually finished 8th, a result that looked modest on paper but felt brutal considering how much pace he'd shown all weekend. For a driver who had described his first year with Ferrari as a roller coaster, Mexico was the perfect snapshot, flashes of brilliance overshadowed by frustration and misfortune. Even Ferrari team principal Fred Vasseur couldn't hide his disappointment. Speaking after the race, he said, "It's harsh. I don't remember the last time we saw 10 seconds for that kind of move." But the FIA rulebook backed the decision. Under Appendix L, Article 2.c of the International Sporting Code, gaining a lasting advantage carries a standard 10-second time penalty. In special cases, stewards can reduce it to 5 seconds, but only if mitigating factors apply. In Hamilton's case, they felt there weren't enough. Still, many in the paddock, including George Russell, questioned why Verstappen and others weren't penalized for their own off-track adventures on lap 1. Russell summed up the frustration clearly. "I struggle to understand how 3 guys can just cut the corner and maintain the position." The FIA's reasoning for not punishing those first lap moments was that the pack was bunched together, and that contact avoidance takes priority in such situations. Essentially, it was treated as a racing incident due to the congestion at turn 1. But Hamilton's situation came later, in clear air, when he had full control of his car, and that made all the difference in the eyes of the stewards. is a painful technicality, but Formula One thrives on these details. A few meters of grass, a missed escape road, and a momentary decision cost Hamilton dearly. Yet for fans, the inconsistency remains a sore point. How can one off-track moment be excused while another draws a harsh punishment?